Greetings and welcome back to episode 7 of Exo Plays Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Game Boy Advance. And for once, I have the episode number right, because this is this is the first session I've recorded since I released the series, so to speak. So I need to go grab Rickety Kong over here. Actually, let me go ahead and turn off the preview on the OBS window so that we don't have any frame drops, because that would suck. It would suck, much like a game that is bad. I don't know, Mega Man X6. That's a pretty bad one. Not Mega Man Base though. Which, that review has not come out yet as of writing, and right now I'm having difficulties with that because, well, I can't just jump straight into, like, in retrospect, Mega Man Base was a bad choice for this for the mediocre marathon. I can't just jump straight into it without talking about some of the other games, and I can pretty much say what I need to say about the first 6 in, like, just a few sentences, but I do need to talk about Mega Man 7 and Mega Man 8, and so I was like, okay, I'll just do a quick little review of Mega Man 7 and 8, but then I realized, oh shit, there are 8-bit remakes, demakes, if you will, of Mega Man 7 and Mega Man 8, and if I don't talk about them, then I'm gonna be in deep shit because for some reason I decided to make a name for myself as the remake guy, so that means that whenever I talk about a game, I better talk. I know they're fan remakes, but I did AM2R, so people are gonna be wondering, oh, you did AM2R, but you didn't do that one, so yeah. And I just got done with a crossover review with Jay's Reviews as of recording this. He just released the video. Turned out pretty well. That was a fun little project. I needed that, because most of the stuff I work on ends up being pretty stressful, so it was kind of fun to kind of unwind with a short little video. I guess I should probably say something about the level we're playing. This is Hornet Hole, the first of several beehive themed levels. I mean, I guess they're technically wasp hives, because again, I guess this is supposed to be where the zingers came from. Zingers are supposed to be wasps, and wasps do not make honey. And I was hoping there would be some kind of, oh no, there it is. Okay. It's been a while since I practiced this level all the way through. One thing I should note, they actually fixed a glitch in this version of the game. In the original version of the game, you could, if you were doing your team-up move, you could walk through the honey. They got rid of that for this version, so it's one of those things where I'm sure a lot of people were pissed off because why did they fix my favorite glitch? You know, it's kind of like how King K keeps making much ado about nothing about how they get rid of his terrible, awful, hard to pull off sequence breaks in Metroid Prime 1 and 2 that no. The thing about sequence breaking is, if it's not more efficient than the normal way, then what's the point? And that's my 5 cents on the sequence breaking in Metroid Prime 1. It's all glitch based. And then you compare that to the sequence breaks in like Zero Mission, which are really easy to, well, relatively simple to pull off. They're just based on mastery of mechanics, and that's what sequence breaking should be. It should be about using the wall jump to get an early wave beam. It shouldn't be about using bombs to glitch your way through a gate so that you can skip the sunken frigate. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. You know, the ones that I'm thinking of are efficient. The ones that I'm citing, rather, are efficient. The Metroid Prime 1 and 2 ones are not efficient. They're glitches that are very difficult to pull off, so I don't care if they got fixed in the Wii version. King K is not here, so I don't know why I'm wasting my breath on this. I'm sure he's like everybody's favorite YouTuber now. Well, I knew him before he was cool. But I digress. So, obviously the honey, you step in it, you get stuck. So that means you have to keep jumping around, and for some reason Squitter here, even though he has 1,000,000 feet, 8 feet to be precise, can seemingly walk through it with no issue whatsoever. You will want to make sure that you get the Squitter because he's your gateway to several of the secrets in the stage. Yeah, I did get the golden feather, so we're all set on that. That's one of the more difficult ones to find. It's like, At some point in the game, they start becoming more difficult to find. I mean, for the most part, they're still just on the path and you pick them up, but... Alright, so we'll hop our way up here real quick. I suppose that if you did not have your squitter, you would have had to have climbed up the walls again, but I don't think it's possible to get in. Oh, I suppose you could get off of Squitter and then walk through the door, but why would you want to do that? You want to keep him because he's beneficial. What? I guess it's good that they thought of that, otherwise, you know, people might be screwed. And that fucker got rid of my spider. And I just did that. I don't think there's anything good up there. I think it's maybe some bananas. There are some bananas up there that you can grab. Alright, so now I actually have to play this for real, which I have not done in a very long time, actually. Because I almost always get Squitter when I'm playing this level. And we got a bananas. Hells yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the new level types here, folks. We'll be seeing it, I think, one more time after this. Usually, all of these level types show up at least once or twice. Alright, we're back at Kong College to see if Wrinkly has any advice for us.
Come on in and sit down, children. I'm sure that running around has made you tired.
Secret doors.
Doors are hidden on the sides of walls and can be broken into by throwing objects at them or using your animal buddies.
So if you didn't know about that in terms of bonus streams, that could be helpful. This is useful.
Press B to roll off an edge and then press A to jump as you fall. You can increase your jumping distance this way.
And I use that all the time, so as you can imagine, that's helpful.
Destroy the small zinger and his drones quickly or they'll reappear after a while. Come back if you got any problems now.
So as you can see, I did not pay for them, but there are hints for your scrapbook that you can buy from Wrinkly. I think, I don't know, maybe they moved some of the hints that you would have gotten later in the game backwards, but from this point on, all the hints you're going to be getting from Wrinkly Kong will be about the scrapbook, which is a nice feature, because in the first game, Cranky would give you hints if you like kept coming back and visiting him enough. But this is a lot more efficient. And I should probably address the elephant in the room. As you guys can see, the background for these roller coaster stages in this version of the game, way different. They changed it a lot. So in the original game, everything was at night. This version of the game, they add this kind of sunset or sunrise sort of effect to the background, and I imagine it was done to make the sprites pop out against the background, because once again, GBA screen, not backlit. So if you're working on... So if they had kept it the same, maybe it would have been harder to see. I don't know. Like, you'd have this screen that was basically all black, and by making it yellow, it increases the, you know, the contrast so that you can see easier. So I'm sure that there was a good gameplay reason for changing the background, but still, even by this game standards, and I'm very forgiving, it's kind of an eyesore, I'm not gonna lie. This is not one of the changes in the remake that worked out for the better, if you ask me, but again, gameplay reason for that, I can kind of forgive it. Like, I'd rather that the game play better than, you know, and have other kinds of issues. I'd rather that the background not look so great, but the game play better than to have the background look better and the game be worse off for it, gameplay-wise. Oh, I remember this one. No, I think I'm thinking of one in the third roller coaster level. Speaking of roller coasters, this is basically the equivalent of the minecart levels from Donkey Kong Country 1. Except obviously this time we are riding in a not a minecart, a weird rat skull-shaped roller coaster. I've never understood what those things are supposed to be, but they have little rat teeth on the front of them and everything. So I think they're supposed to be skulls at any rate, and I've always thought they look strange, but the gimmick with Target Terror is so obviously this level plays more like minecart madness in the first game. sometimes in these DKC games you will either ride around in one minecart that can jump with you, or you'll be riding on top of it and then your character jumps off of it and you've got to jump to other ones. Obviously, this level falls into the second category, so you got to keep. Meanwhile, there are these gates that you've got to open by hitting these barrel guys here, which sort of incentivizes you to jump at certain times. And this level is way better than any of those shitty toboggan levels in the third game. I don't care what anyone says. My sense of timing was off, my lovelies. But don't you worry, that was just a life we don't need in this game that showers you with lives. Much like how Donkey Kong likes to shower Candy Kong in coconut cream pie. Let's see, yeah, we're doing great so far. We're making good time too. So here we are in the second of the Bramble stages. This, of course, yeah, that's what I thought. We better change over to that. So we'll wait until this guy gets all the way over to the side. And there we go, that's another camera. That's another scrapbook photo on the books. Yeah. By the way, I gotta really say, Stickerbush Symphony is not overrated in the slightest. And, you know, I'm sure I'll probably trigger a few people by saying this, but I actually like the GBA version of this track better than the original version. I like this sort of... It has kind of a piano sort of sound to it that I'm a sucker for pianos in my video game music. If you have piano-sounding instrumentation, I'll probably like it, which is one of the reasons why I like the Saturn soundtrack for Sonic 3D Blast more than the Genesis one. As, I don't know, I'm just a sucker for some good piano ballads, and that game is full of piano. Piano's just a good instrument, it's just pleasant on the ears. I love Kirby's Epic Yarn soundtrack, because it's basically just piano music, and I love it. So now you guys know something more about my musical tastes, but beyond the fact that they suck because I don't hate the soundtrack in this game. Though I will say, as long as I was complaining about the Rollercoaster stages in this remake, I do think that Disco Train was one of the tracks that did not turn out for the better on the GBA sound font. For the most part, I'm pretty forgiving. Like, I understand that the GBA is 8-bit in terms of sound, that it cannot realistically get samples that are as high quality. Okay, more techno garble for you guys, since you guys enjoyed it so much in the last playthrough. So there's pre-recorded music and there's sequenced music. And no matter what, digital sound is comprised of a bunch of small samples that are played in a sequence, essentially. So every fraction of a second is a new sample that is replayed that is basically strung together in real time, and that applies to both pre-recorded music and sequenced music. The difference between sequenced music and pre-recorded music is that each sample in a pre-recorded song is unique. Even if it repeats a sound, it's unique, and that sequence will stay the same no matter what. And it's usually, you know, that's essentially the basic idea. But with sequenced music, you can reuse the same sample multiple times because it's being pieced together in real time, and it basically saves disk space. So the advantage of pre-recorded music is that you can get a dynamic sound the whole way through, and you aren't limited in what kind of instruments you can use or what kind of samples you can use. But the drawback is that it takes up more disk space. So that's why you didn't really start to see pre-recorded music until the CD era hit us, until we started getting games on optical media. And even then, many PlayStation games still used sequenced audio, I guess, just to save disk space. Like, I think the Mega Man games are all sequenced. But, so obviously, when you have a Game Boy Advance game like this, you know, and I just recently released the Pac-Man World video, so if you guys saw that, then you will know that game is kind of a rare exception in that it is pre-recorded. Maybe it's just really well done sequencing. I'm not sure, but it sounds pre-recorded to me because of how bit crunched it is. Because if it was sampled, they wouldn't need to bit crunch it. So, okay, so basically what I was getting at is this game is the GBA sound is 8-bit, and that might, and it's not 8-bit in like the traditional 8-bit sense. It's just the hardware that. The hardware is 8-bit, so obviously if they had the cartridges are also smaller as well. Like I'm not even sure how big this game is. Actually, let me check. I can tell you guys real quick. Depending on how quickly I can find the Donkey Kong Country 2. 8 megabytes. And so this game is 8 megabytes, and I guarantee you if they tried to go the pre-recorded route, so obviously the advantage of sequenced music is that you can fit higher quality sounding stuff on a smaller space. But the drawback is obviously your sound's not going to be as dynamic as in a pre-recorded song. And there are limits to how big the samples can be, and the samples still take up space as well, even though the actual sequence file is, relatively lean. So that means that, so there, one of the games I reviewed, it's called Klonoa Heroes Densetsu no Star Medal. That's the Klonoa Heroes game. That game is actually 16 megabytes. It is a relatively large Game Boy Advance game, but all the music sounds like traditional 8-bit NES kind of stuff. And the reason for that is the game is so big and has a lot of sprites and a lot of cutscene content and basically a bunch of other stuff that fill up that 16-bit cart, or that 16 megabyte cart real quickly. So the only way that they could get music going was to use the Game Boy Advance has built-in Game Boy sound channels on it. So I think what they did for that was, instead of trying to fit samples under the cart, they just used sequence data and then just used the Game Boy instruments instead. So basically, and another drawback to sequenced audio. Actually, let's go to Funky's Flights real quick, because I'm sure I'm boring the hell out of you guys. Wicked! She's all tuned up and ready to go. Come on, dudes, I need your help. Kong napped. Zingers have attacked Kong Island and kidnapped members of the Kong family. Go and rescue them. To pick up a passenger, land beside them and they will jump right in. Once they're on board, they take them back to the helipad. You must rescue 6 hostages to complete this mission. She's all gassed up and ready to go. You have 5 minutes flying time. Alright, folks. So we have our next lovely gyrocopter minigame. So, you guys might have noticed, I haven't really talked about this much. There is a radar in this game. And the radar will tell you where to find your Kong buddies, who, for some reason, are all Tiny Kong. I don't know why. Alright, so we've saved one of them. So yeah, that's the goal. Follow the radar to find your lovely Kong buddies, to find Dixie's sister, as it were. And something that really strange that happened was she got a redesign later. Tiny Kong did. She originally debuted in Donkey Kong 64, as I'm sure most of you know. And, oh yeah, by the way, those zingers will kidnap Tiny Kong if they come near her. I don't know why there are multiple Tiny Kongs. Like in the DKC3 boat minigames, they actually create a bunch of character models of DK64 characters and stuff, so that you weren't just helping out Tiny Kong the whole time. Grab this health real quick. So, let's see. It looks like one of those zingers got a hold of one of our Kong friends. Let's see if I can't save him. Save her real quick. Where on earth are they? Ah, alright. By the way, I think that sound is ripped straight out of Diddy Kong Racing. And getting back to what I was talking about, in Diddy Kong Racing Diddy Kong Racing DS, they changed Tiny's character model. They like changed her character design so that she's like taller than Dixie and like all sexy for some reason. Like, as sexy as a cartoon ape can be, but you know what I'm saying. They made her legs, like, long and lean for some reason. It just entirely goes against the point of her character, if you ask me. She was supposed to be like the cute little sister that was taken along for the adventure. She was Tiny Kong, that was her name. And then they turned her into someone who's taller than Dixie and, like, sexy? Like, why? Oh yeah, if you wait too long to rescue Tiny Kong, then the zingers will, I think, take them to the hive on the left, and then you can't rescue them anymore. I think we only have to save a certain number of them. So yeah. And that does it for that mission. Well done! Take this hero coin as a small reward. Alright, moving on up in the world. Much like the Jeffersons, we are moving on up. And I'm never gonna stop using that joke that you guys don't find funny. I hope I turned off. Yes, I did. Thank goodness. More shop talk for you guys. Alright, next level, Rickety Race. Actually, I think we're gonna pause here, and we'll... Actually, fuck it, we'll do this level real quick. It's not that long. Hop on up here. Don't want to keep you guys here forever, but it's like, yeah. I'm sure we could finish this level in a relatively short time, and I missed that guy and prolonged the inevitable. Oh boy. Okay, so that was another destroy them all mission done. That's... If you're not picking the right pathways, maybe that could be kind of tricky, but I don't know, I don't think I've ever lost that mission. Alright, so starting out here, move backwards and you'll get a speed boost. So this level has a bit of a gimmick to it. This is Rickety Race is what it's called. And the gimmick of Rickety Race is that there are several cutlasses racing you to the end of the stage, and for every one you kill or get past, you will unlock... Basically, your goal is to come in first, and as you get towards the higher rankings, you will start winning prizes for passing or defeating the other contestants. When you're starting out, you can do tricks like that, like you see we just got a banana bunch for killing that cutlass. Now we're in 4th place. Let's see. Well, shit. Let's give that another try real quick. Yeah, and yes, that special boost barrel is in the original. I actually didn't discover it until I was playing this game for the Remake or Rebreak episode, this version specifically. Jesus, I really fucked that up. Now I'm not gonna make it. And if you time your jumps right, you can skip large portions of level, and that can help you catch up. It is possible to beat the stage without using the barrel, but I find that the stage is harder in the GBA version. I might just be remembering my time with the Game Boy Player, which has the terrible input lag, but it's not so bad on the original hardware, on the original screen, or if you can play it legless in an emulator with low latency and whatnot. They added that star barrel to this version. I'm not sure why they thought that was a good idea. But it is possible to jump over it, and if you don't jump into it, you can actually just pass under it, so it's optional. Me hitting it was a mistake. But every time there's gonna be a bottomless pit, you'll see that exclamation point sign, so the game is trying to point out to you that yes, there's a pit coming up, you better jump your way over this. And by the way, if you die, then all the racers reset. And I missed an easy jump. So much for this being quick. Ugh, hoi vey. Okay. Gotta focus on this. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, is it not? In fact, after this, I might just... Because you guys probably don't need to see me keep messing up on this, because... I don't know, maybe if I were to play the original version again, I'd find that that version was easier, I'm not sure. Alright, and that finishes off the level itself, along with the one bonus coin in the stage, the one bonus room. And in order to complete the stage fully, we do have to win the race, so... yeah, so that's my pro tip for you, especially in this version. In the original version, there is no midpoint barrel. So if you die at any point in the stage, you just go back to the start so that you can, you know, focus on winning the race. I'm sure that for those of you who don't care about getting the best ending in the game or completing the game 102%, you will think that that star barrel is a godsend, because this level can be tricky. But for seasoned, experienced players like me who like to do completionist runs, that star barrel can be kind of a nuisance if you accidentally jump into it. But I digress, we're in 4th place, and I find that it's at this point that stage starts to become tricky. Because, especially since we've got the pits going on, along with us trying to jump into, oh, I guess you can't just travel under it. Well, here's hoping we get it right on the first try. Alright, we're in 2nd place. We just gotta take out the guy in 1st place and we're home free, fam. There he is. Alright, and if you... oh, fuck that shit. Well... okay, so here's the problem. Unfortunately, once you get a midpoint barrel in the Game Boy Advance version of these titles, it doesn't go away unless you either beat the stage or get a midpoint barrel in a different stage. So basically, I have no choice but to finish the stage again and then start over, so... or go to another stage and get halfway, but even then I'm not even sure if that works. I don't know, I guess... alright, so we're gonna cut now, and whenever we finish the stage is gonna be when the part ends, so yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, we did it! I died in the process, but we did it! Alright, folks, so that's gonna be it for this part. Join me in episode 8, when we will finish off Crazy Kremland at long last, and hopefully set our sights on the next world. So until then, I'm Exio, and goodbye!